One, two, 1, 2. And you're in the basement with JaVonne and Terez, and I believe we have Miss Rochelle Fleming on the line. Is that so?
Yes, we do.
How you doing, Miss Fleming?
Hey, what's up?
You know what, darling? I can't even begin to talk about all the drama that we've gone through today. But you know what? It's very 2020 here in the basement. How are you doing, love?
I am doing just fine. I don't complain. I try not to complain, because there's too many other people in worse shape out there, and I just gotta do my thing until it's time for us to do it again.
Absolutely, absolutely. I saw you not too long ago on I think it was maybe about a year ago. Terez and I went down to see you and Barbara Tucker. Terez, if you could move your head a little bit more so that there you go. There we go. At least we're in the frame. So we went and we saw you and you looked wonderful. You and Barbara Tucker were downtown in Manhattan. And you sound good. You look good. I mean, my goodness.
Bouncing around on stage with that full voice.
Oh, honey, and Barbara is a very dear, long time friend. Her and Kathy Sledge, of course, and Kathy sisters, and Evelyn. We're all, wonderful friends. And I remember Kathy telling me not too long ago a show I did with her, and she said, well, why is it that your voice, you sound like, just like yourself back in the day, and blah, blah, blah. And I said, could it be, girl? Because, while y'all was out there dancing on the floor after the show, I was up in my hotel room drinking my hot tea after my show.
That's right. That's right.
Play with the throat.
See, a big throat, a big voice that we have. Actually, I was saying right before you came on, Miss Fleming, that it is impossible. You could not call yourself a club head and not know First Choice and the front lady of First Choice. You're all washed up in this town if you didn't know Rochelle Fleming. You're all washed up. Sorry. You gave us some classic hits.
Girl, I'm so blessed. I am so grateful for it. I don't call the fans. They're my personal sweeties. I call all you guys sweeties to me because I call my nieces and nephews that. And that's, it's because of you. It's the support from mom and dad from the time I was, I started singing at 5 at the same church here in Philly. We're our family church, and I'm the baby of 7, last one to get married. I don't have any children. My husband has a grown son, but I have a gazillion nephews and nieces, and the support from them and you guys through the years, and they're playing this stuff. I have a whole new audience of a younger generation, which blows my mind, and a lot of hip-hop artists that are mixing my records. And when I do shows, and they might not know Rochelle Fleming part, the name, now they know, but they didn't then. And when I started singing, then they're freaking out. That's you. I said, yeah. I said, so get at the end of the stage. And I told Louis that a long time ago, give me write my check. Louis used to give him a jelly bean. I'm telling you. Always a pleasure talking to you guys.
Louis and Jelly Bean must have wore the wax out of a lot of your stuff back in the day. So of course they know who you are.
I know.
Absolutely. And I don't think that there is a generation that doesn't know your music since your music has been put out. I think that consistently, as a matter of fact, I know consistently your music has always played. There's no such thing as a party without some first choice. You got to hear Dr. Love. You're going to hear Love Thang. You're going to hear Let No Man Put Asunder. You know, there's just certain staples to every party. You can't have a party and not have those songs since the 70s.
I think it's such a wonderful thing, and it makes me feel good because of the fun I had back in the day recording it. And I think about Norman and Alan. They've been gone a long time. They were like our big brothers when we first signed up with them to be our writers. And I know they didn't have a clue that stuff would still be. It's bigger now, actually, to be honest with you, than it was back then. It's even like it's so far beyond, and all these different people sampling me, and I've met like with Mary J. and it's the gospel singer that redid Dr. Love to a gospel. What is her? I can't believe
Jessica Reedy redid it too.
Reedy? Yeah.
Yes, yes. And I'm so I can't it does something to me when I hear these artists sampling, singing my stuff, and Wendy Williams, who introduced me at one of those shows, or it's like a Sal, one of those disco / house music, real nice show that I did a few years back, and she introduced. She said, "I'm not introducing nobody but Roach." And she was a huge fan. Girl, when she was coming down the steps, and I was coming up the steps to get on the stage. She said, "My girl, you better work that Dr. Love. You hear me?" I said, "Okay, all right." And that was the first time I met her. But it's a wonderful thing. I would have never thought, people that they would still be playing. I tell George all the time, my manager, I said, "George, I get one thing. Hey, how much more did they get out of the one song?"
Oh, honey, that was those songs. People were talking to each. You had people talking to each other on the dance floor. It's not over. What? That was an anthem. Are you kidding me? You made anthems. That's what it was. So that's why they're still talking about it. Dr. Love was an anthem. Newsy Neighbors was an anthem. I mean, it was just, these were anthems and classics for their time.
You sound like, Jocelyn Brown and Lolita. We were all on the same label. And I remember us three just jamming at a club on the dance floor. The Red Parrot is where we were. And we was dancing and having fun. It was just a publicity night. And I remember them playing the It's Not Over. And I hear, and Lolita saying, and the Jocelyn, "Why do you play Roe first? Why couldn't they play me first?" I'm just joking around. And Lolita said, "That's because that's the anthem." That's the first time I heard somebody say that.
Mm-hmm.
And I've heard people use that term for it. So I appreciate it, honey. I do. I can't even tell you. I can't. Oh.
Anytime you hear somebody quoting the lyrics without the music to somebody across the dance floor, you know that's an anthem. That's the anthem.
Absolutely.
And the intro.
So let me ask you. Oh yeah, the intros to the music. Yeah,
that intro was a mix in and of itself before your vocals even came up.
Exactly.
It came in hard.
Unbelievable. And then some people used to ask me, was the background of the ad-libs written? And I said, no, that comes from my head. Whatever, when I sing a song, and then like Norman, they would just say, "Ro, take it away." When it was time for me to do my part, I take the track home. Of course, I'm in the background too. We used to lay that part first, and then he would give me the tape and say, "Okay, you go home, work on it. We back in the studio on the weekend, right here in Philly, Signal Sound Studios." And that's the part actually that I enjoyed when I did Be Something, Nobody's Fool, which I'm so excited it's going to be available this Friday on Track Source. And I'm so excited about that because George, I tell you, he wrote that song. Isn't my life, it's who I am. He pays such close attention. First Choice has had a lot of managers, believe me, and that's why I said I don't like be negative about anything. I try not to be that way. I'm a very forgiving person because really we were taken care of. We were taken care of, and that's because a lot of the girls we're like church little girls, and our family who were right there, protecting us at every show and rehearsals, and but yeah, when the lyrics, he said, "Ro, that's you," and I said, I said, I may be a lot of things, but I'm nobody's fool, and I mean that song, girl, I can't tell you how much fun I had recording that, and he was so excited. Him and that Teddy, oh God, Teddy. I'm telling you, Teddy. I told Teddy, go in the corner and just be quiet because he just gets excited. Just to be producing. That's his thing. He's great. It was so much fun, and it's even more now than it was back then because I know the industry now. When you're young, coming out. So I know it now. I know what it's about. I know all the guy groups were like my big brothers. They went to high school here in Philly with both my brothers, and they used to all call me Rochelle. I ran into Russell of the stylistics at one of those NAACP things, and he was talking, hey, Roshi. I said, nobody knows me as Roshi. He said, shut up, girl, I do. Get over here, baby girl. That's what they used to call. And they still, Poogie, they all still call me that. Earl Young. He said, girl, I used to call them Pop, and I still do.
Wow.
Tell us the background. What was it like creating Dr. Love in the studio? That's a lot of ad lib. That just feels like a feel good song. What was that like?
Like I said, when Norman had a heart problem because he had that's what killed him. He was only 39 when he died, and what happened was when he wrote that, he and Alan told him, and Norman said, Shell, I got this song. It's about a doctor you're involved with, and he said, I'm going to do like we normally do, and then we're going to give you the track, you take it home, and you do your thing. Let me know when you're ready, and we'll book the studio time for the lead. So I said, okay. So I get home, and my mother, I tell you, that's hard, because I got it from her, and I like that. Oh, I think that might be a hit. So I'm just singing in the house, and didn't do the ad-libs here. But once I got into that studio, I have a habit of closing my eyes, and I'm holding on to my headset with both hands with both on both ears, and I just went off. The ad-libs. Ad-libs come to me. Oh man, like how can I put it? They, especially in certain songs. Dr. Love was one of them. It was easy. It was easy. It was just a matter of just opening my mouth and just singing. And he can cure my every pain. Dr. Love. I mean, they didn't give me none of that. That was all me. That it just came out of me. And from it was such a I loved most of our stuff. I was crazy about anyway. But I had my picks, and Dr. Love was one of the actual the picks. And then the thing was though, Ron Tyson at the time that now he went with the Temps. And Ron was closer to First Choice, like we were buddies with his group. And what happened was Ron took over because Norman had to go in the hospital for the second half of Dr. Love. And when he came out, this is how well they knew my vocals and know what I could do. He said, Shell, you know you're going to have to do your ad-libs over because I know you, and it could be some more stuff. And I know it's some more stuff that you hide. And he was right. So we went back into the video, and I redid my ad-libs. And I have to admit, it was the killer.
Mm.
Those were the killer tracks. And just, it comes to me, I guess that would be like a musician with their instrument.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I close my eyes and I do my gospel stuff on the church choir the same way. I just singing happy birthday to one of my nieces or nephews or friends, just such a warm feeling that I have when I do, and especially when I do my own ad-libs. I know they're coming from me. Nobody's feeding them to me. And that I call a true gift.
Absolutely.
And it's really nothing to take lightly.
Absolutely.
A lot of entertainers, a lot of them have, but I don't. I'm not one of them.
I would love to hear some of those early sessions with Newsy Neighbor and Dr. Love and Let No Man Put Asunder. Like, though, I'm sure there were some goodies.
Newsy, because I remember Double Exposure. It was written. Norman wrote that for them. Mm-hmm. And Jimmy, bless his heart, he's no longer here, the lead vocal, but Jimmy did, I don't do that song, it's too girly. And I remember us working with them not too long ago, right before he passed away. We did that outdoor concert at the Central Park in New York, of course. And a lot of the South Soul groups were there, and I kind of, the girls and myself, it was our reunion time. We did it. It was 3 years ago, 4 now, and it was a wonderful feeling. First Choice, Sky was even good friends of mine, and Sheep, and a lot of them were there. And I remember when he came off the stage behind us. Jimmy, the lead singer of Double Exposure, he said, "Well, I don't know why we ain't take that song. We should have took that song." I said, "No, you said you didn't want it, and it's a little too late now."
Just a little, you think? So let's name what now for the audience who may not know the ladies of First Choice. Can you give us the names of the ladies of First Choice, please?
Absolutely. Annette, at the time when I met her, she and I were in junior high school here in Philadelphia. Boston Junior High is where we went, and she, which was seventh grade. That's right. And Annette Guest at the time, that was her last name before she got married, and Wardell Piper. Woody was one of us. I handpicked those girls, and Mulaney, I cannot remember Mulaney, her last name. And I told George, I said, I gotta reach out to Mulaney because I never can remember Mulaney's last name. But it was 4 First Choices, and then we recorded "This Is the House Where Love Died." That was the actual first hit for First Choice, but it was only here in Philly and New York. And then after "This Is the House Where Love Died," that's when we recorded. Norman and Alan said they had another record for us, and they figured that was going to be the first big hit, and they were right. That was "Armed and Extremely Dangerous."
Yeah.
And that's when we got to the Soul Train and all the rest of the stuff. But yeah, it was Annette Guest, who's Hardiman now. Her husband died not too long ago. And we're all good friends. And Ned and Wardell and Mulaney are more, because that was really, we were, like I said, in junior high school. So that's how long and how far back we go. We used to call one another for birthdays, but now we text each other and then have a ball. So yeah, and we Wardell and myself have gotten awards together in New York, and so I still cross paths with them every now and then after we did the reunion. But yeah, from that time, it was Annette Guest. I'd just say Annette, Wardell, Piper, and Mulaney. I cannot remember Mulaney's last name. And then, but they only did This Is the House We Love guys. Then that was it.
Okay.
Mulaney wanted to get married. Wardell wanted to always. That's why I got a true respect for her. She always wanted to be on her own. And she said, Rochelle, which is what she still called me. She said, I don't know what do you want with us? She said, girl, you can do this by yourself. I said, no, I want a girl group. Because that's what was happening back then. But my family and a lot of my friends, they, well, you can do this by yourself. I said, yeah, I want a girl group. And then came along, of course, the Joyce Jones and Ursula Herring, Debbie Martin, who we're all still really, really good friends. But those were the girls. Those were the girls. And it's a lot of other ones that were in and out for like a quick minute. Mm-hmm. But the ones that stayed for each girl on 2 albums a piece, that would be the first one would be the very first album, Joyce Jones, and she was on the first 2. She was on the Dangerous album and the Player album, and then on the 3rd and 4th album was I think that's Ursula. I think it was Ursula Herring, and then Debbie Martin was Hold Your Horses and Break Away.
Mm.
Yeah. Oh my God! I remember all of that, all of those wonderful, wonderful albums and songs, and that was during the days that you played the whole album, both sides, and just good times, man. Just, I mean, and to think about it, I was a kid, so my mom was bringing that music home. So that's 2 generations there, and then every generation since. Because they're still playing it. It's just amazing. It's remarkable. Let me ask you. I'm sorry. When you were young, like a child, did you always hope to be a singer? Was that your wish, your dream?
Yes, because my mother, my sisters, and my mother's sisters, they're in the gospel actual field. My mom's brothers and sisters, a lot of them are still living, and my dad's people are singers. His matter of fact, my cousin Connie Fleming, Connie does background every now and then. When I do a live show on the stage, which I haven't done in a while, but I was 5 years old is when my mom first knew I was in the backyard. You fill up and to have those, and we have them still. I think they got rid of all of them. But the backyard, and my mom, that's when they said she didn't believe in dryers. See, back then they hung their clothes up after they washed in the washing machine. So I would be in the back with her, and she would ask me to hand her the clothespin. So every clothespin I treated like a mic. And I was about 4.5, 5 years old. Wow. And then when I got to church, I would never sit my butt still. My mom had to hold me tight. And then when she takes out her sponge to block her, and girl, I got that from her too. And my sister, girl, I'm such a prissy. And I'm powdering my nose, and I'm singing with the choir at 5 years old. And wow. I started around right before 7th grade. I was doing, they were talent shows down in North Philadelphia, the streets, people were so close in Philadelphia. They still are like that, because I have some nephews and nieces that live in North Philadelphia, up Philly. Not a lot of them anymore, but a lot of us are still, the majority of the immediate family is still in Philly. And they actually, I remember, like, oh my goodness, I had to have been maybe about 12, my first talent show. And it was a song, I forget her name, or Ruby something. And it was the tell him that I love him, tell him he was mine. I forget it. And if you ever leave him, tell him I'll be there. I forget, Ruby Davis or Ruby D or something. And I was a little bit before 12 years old. But I was a huge fan for Aretha Franklin. I won 3 talent shows in a row in the neighborhood. Uh-huh. And then when I got into school, I started the talent shows, and Wardell and Annette and Merlane, and we were winning them. You know, when we got to Overbrook High School.
Overbrook.
Yep. Graduated from Overbrook High. And when we graduated, On and Dangerous was out. We had just did Soul Train, and I remember the kids pointing at us. You know, like, did he go? Did he go? And it was awesome.
Let me ask a question. What was your go-to talent show song that you sang? Do you remember?
Oh, girl. Oh, gosh. Georgie Woods, when he was living, he discovered a lot of groups from Philly. And Georgie, we were no different. But we walked into Georgie Woods' office, wow. And it was DAS here in FM in Philly. And we walked into his office and told him that we can sing and we want him to sit down and listen. And girl, we started singing. Aretha Franklin was my favorite. So we did, and I know this song, oh gosh. Blow a genie from a cigarette. Oh me, oh my. I'm a fool for you, baby. Oh me, oh my. I'm crazy, baby, yes I am. That was the go-to song by Aretha. That was good.
Yeah, that's it. I was hoping it was Oh Me, Oh My. That was it.
Wow. Wonderful. So let me just fast forward to the current song, the most recent song, and your relationship with your manager, who's also the songwriter of the new song. How did you meet George? And how do you put up with him? No, I'm just kidding.
That's the main question. But he told me don't show off because he knows me, okay? And I've had a lot of managers, but George has got to be the best one that I've had. And my next goal down the line, him and I were talking about me doing a book, because I got so much that I could say. But him, I was doing a show out in Trenton, outdoor concert where I did Lincoln Park, and George was on his way to see me at that show. And he was such a big fan. He was so excited about coming to see me. So this was his third time meeting me. So he was like hanging outside the tent, and he's walking back and forth. So my cousin was with me doing backup, and she said, hey, Ron, who that guy? She said, he wants to come in and meet you. So my road manager at the time, who we're all still good friends, Don, he said, Ro, I'm going to bring him in. I said, yeah, bring him in. So he brought him in. He said, oh, how you doing? I said, Rochelle is fine. I said, how are you, sweetie? I said, oh, you're handsome, right? He just was tickled, just laughing. And he said, I love you so much. I love your voice. You just, oh my God. I don't know what else to say. I said, that's okay. I'll say, he said, can I give you my phone number? I know you'll never use it, but in case you're in the area, you can give me a call. You know what happened, JaVonne? And let me tell you, when I took his number, something clicked. Like, and my mom used to say, I had that kind of a sense. There are two ministers that used to belong to my church. He's a bishop. One of them is a bishop now. He's the one that baptized me. They told me that I had something special about reading people. And I don't pay that stuff, no mind when you're younger. But that happens. I totally believe that because I knew he was going to be, and not in my life, just in it. He was going to be my manager. I knew it. So he left that. Wow. I gave him a call the next day. I called the Tuesday. I'll never forget it. After that concert, I had to get the date of it because it's 12 years now. Wow. And we signed. I had people, my business partners that I work with who are still in my life. These two guys that live now, they're in London. They live out there. But they're still a large part of my life, and they love George, and they had it checked out. That's how these guys were good. They were good. From that point on, from me meeting them here in Philadelphia, those guys, they've been a large part of my life, and they keep an eye out for me. So they checked him out. They said, oh, he is good. He is definitely good to go. And that's how I met him 12 years ago. And he has never, he's such, his family is like mine, and my family love him the same way that they love me. And I can't even, I don't know when, if we ever raised our voice or got a little mad with each other, it never lasts about maybe 10 minutes. I'll say something stupid, then he'll start laughing, or he'll say something. Because he told me don't act up on the interview. I said, what?
You know what? With that, I'm gonna bring George on to the show right now so that everybody can meet George.
Oh man! Hello, hi. Thank you for having. What? She's a little long-winded, isn't she? Can she hear me? I'm talking about her.
She can hear you.
Okay. Thank you so much for having me on the show. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much for a couple of things, George. Thank you, first of all, for saying yes. Thank you for helping set this up and arranging it.
Wonderful.
Thank you for spending time with me.
No
Would you tell them the damn thing was working last night perfectly?
No, everything was fine. No, we had a really good time, and I got to. Everything was perfect, and I was like,
I have no idea.
So I don't know what happened, but we're used to situations like this. We'll make it work.
Exactly. This is what happens. And I want to thank you also for taking care of our legend. I love when artists who we revere come on and they talk about their managers who are really taking good care of them.
You don't see the grades? No grades? No.
But I'm just saying, because so many times these artists who have been doing this thing since like the 70s and on, they've been taken advantage of. Their money was stolen. They never made, they couldn't trust anybody, and everybody just, took and never gave. And to hear her talk about you that way, I want to say thank you as somebody who loves everything that she put out. I'm so grateful to her.
Well, that's,
she's the soundtrack of our life,
And that's, and that's really what I was. Well, thank you so much. And that was one of the things when we first met, I always said that, I can't promise you millions of dollars. I says, but one thing I want to make sure you get your props when you're living. And that was really what, and so since then, I think she's received like 10 Lifetime Achievement Awards. They're all downstairs and all that. And she's just been, my life has not been the same since I met her. It was like, she just, she's like, she set me on this path and everything. And we've been having a great working relationship, and, she's family, and she's one of the most humble and has the talent to kind of to back it up, and that's really the wonderful thing. and she still sings in the same key. And you know, it's you know, you know what I'm saying?
For a second, like first of all, I'd never seen Miss Fleming live and partied, and like JaVonne said, she was the soundtrack to my life. So I came. We did the when she played Cielo about maybe a little over a year ago.
I remember that night. Yeah.
And I said, look at this little lady the whole time with this voice from the gods.
She's, and you know, well, the first thing, like I said, as she said, I was a fan like everyone else, and when I met her, and like, so when we decided to work, the thing that she didn't tell you was when she told me you're going to be my manager, and I was like, oh no. She says, before you say no, I think that I still think this. She saw it, and other people saw it, and then there's that period where you have to get over the fact that, oh my God, I'm working with the legend. You know, you're working with this. My first 45 I ever got was Smarty Pants, and so when I see how my life has happened, you know, it's like my father complained because he loved First Choice and he loved Rochelle and he loved that record. He complained that the record was too short. So I'm going to buy the album. You can have the 45, and I'll go out and get the album. You know what I mean? And it was the same version, the same time limit of the song. But and my father was a big First Choice fan. So when I told him that I was working with her, he didn't believe me at first. And then I surprised him when he turned one of his milestone birthdays. She came to New Jersey, and we went, and she came down the house and sang Smarty Pants. I thought he was going to drop. So it was, you know, it's all these little things that we do. But I mean, and you know, and when you're a little kid, that's not song you're supposed to be singing, you know, when you think about it. So that's what brings us to this new single now with Nobody's Fool, is that the one thing I was saying, one of the things I said to Rochelle, I said, you know, everyone loves Let No Man Put Us Under and Armed and Dangerous and Love Thang and Double Cross, but why is it that you were always getting the short end of the stick? Why, you know, there was nobody chasing you. There was nobody, you know, it was, and so that's where the new music, that was the incentive for the new music. I wanted the new music to represent her as a woman of a certain age now. I didn't want her, and when I first went to Teddy Douglas, because he was the producer I chose to have new music for Rochelle, he asked me what kind of record that I wanted for Rochelle. I said, I don't want her played, pregnant, or pleading for any man. I said, you know, and I said, and if we're gonna do music, I want the music to represent showing women being in control. I wanted her to be like, you know, calling the shots. I wanted her to be like, you know, oh, you know, I may be a lot of things, but I'm nobody's fool. And everybody can understand what it's like to have your intelligence insulted. And that's what that song is about. And if you listen to the lyrics and the content of the verse, all of those adjectives that I'm describing that she's singing about, no offense, that's really how she is, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, so, you know, she can be impatient, or at least or at least she was that way. But it was things that she can identify with. And so even got to the point where she's like, the lyric of the song goes, always show and prove, I don't show and tell, my name ain't Boo Boo, it's Rochelle. You know, so it's like, that's I went as far as even including her name in the song. So this was her record. And that's what we wanted to do. And so far everything, we're very excited about it. So yeah.
So are we. Listen, like I said, you weren't worth your dancing shoes if you did not know the big voice of Rochelle.
Of course. And like I said, my favorite song, and you know, when I first started writing songs, even before I knew Rochelle, I used Double Cross as a template almost. I went to a guy like, listen, I love this bass solo, and I mean, and it's so funny how my life turned out. And she was so influential, and then to turn around and to work with her, and to write songs for her, and to represent her, and it's so much. So it's just really an honor. And since then, I've worked with many other artists, and I try to be that voice for them. I remember one time we were doing a show, and Corey Day of Dr. Buzzard, original Savannah band. We were doing a show with her. We did a show with her, and that was another one of my favorites. That was another one of those artists that I was like, when I met her, I completely fanned out. And she pulled me aside one day and she said to me, and it meant everything to me. She said, I watch you with some of these artists you work with. And she goes, you can tell that you really care for them. And she said, and we need that. And that was to get that from someone that you loved, and you listened to Sun Shower, and that Dr. Buzzer was still is my top 5 favorite album.
He was my teacher.
Hard Times.
Who? August Darnell?
Dr. Buzzer.
Oh, wait.
And before they released that album, he used to play it in class.
You're kidding.
No.
Well, you know what? I want to talk to you after, because I Kid Creole, August Darnell, he's my biggest influence as a songwriter, because he used, and it made sense. He had a master's degree in English, and he would use double entendres in his songs.
Oh yeah.
And I've met him, and I'm good friends with Mama Coconut, Adriana Kagi. She was the co-founder, and I've hung out with her and Cody Mundy and all of those guys. But Corey Day. When she said that to me, and that meant everything to me, because managers do get a bad rep, and we don't, and sometimes people don't really look for the interest in. But since then, I've made, with Rochelle being sampled, made sure we get that money right. You know what I mean? I have people looking out for her to make sure, with the sampling and everything. She's one of the most sampled voices. And her and Lolita are probably neck and neck, if anything.
Ooh, Lolita.
But she's another one. And she was, and like I said, and because of Rochelle, I was able, it opened so many doors for me to work with these artists. And I get to tell them that I love them and how much they've influenced me. And this is why I was telling JaVonne last night, I said, dreams do come true. You have to work at it, and you have to stay in it. That's why these platforms like what you and Terez are doing, and both of you, it's so important, because some of us managers don't get that spotlight, sometimes, and we don't get to say our stories. And to get the love like that from multiple artists, it really means everything. And this is why this is just to see, 2 strong Black women having their own, it's wonderful. And that's the honor part of that. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, we actually bring managers on, booking agents and so forth, as well as artists. We had Troy Bronstein. I think you.
Oh yes, I love him. Yeah, we've done shows together many times. Yeah.
Yeah, he's been on a few times too.
Miss Fleming wanted to say something. Go ahead, Miss
Sure.
Fleming.
Oh, no, I was just saying, because a lot of the girls that I'm friends with now, but they all like, well, you think your manager can keep me? And I said, no, you can't help that. Nobody else. And I
Right. No, she's very territorial. But that's okay. But like I said, but the funny part about it is that because she's like, she could be like that, but she's good that way. And I get a lot of, lot of inquiries to work together, but you can't work with everybody. You only can't, there's only two people you can do. So, but I'm just very honored, and we're very excited to be with this record coming out, and the remix, and Louis Vega has been playing it, of course, Teddy Douglas, and working with Teddy was also a dream come true. Crystal Waters is a great friend of mine, and I remember she telling me that just keep writing. She goes, write another one. You're only as good as your last hit. Keep writing. So we've had it. So she's been very encouraging, and I have these wonderful, legendary people supporting me, and that doesn't happen very often. And just the fact that the Rochelle's fans have stuck with her we're going on 5 decades, and they still want these records. They still want to hear her.
First of all, like I said, I started saying that is not a surprise, because her songs are the measuring stick to whether or not you know your stuff. Right. Like as JaVonne can tell you, JaVonne's a DJ, and if you didn't have these records in rotation, you weren't worth your salt. You just
that's right. And Monifa is commenting, and she is saying legendary.
Oh wow. I love that song, Touch It. So thank you, Monifa, for checking. I love that song. That was like, that was my jam. So thank you. I appreciate it. But no, it's wonderful.
Yes,
and I
Monifa,
know
darling.
but this has been really wonderful, and I appreciate all of the support and having us on the show, getting Rochelle to tell her story. And
Absolutely.
one of the things that we did, the first thing I did as a fan first was to have her clear up some of the lyrics that I've been singing wrong for 30 something years.
Oh, okay.
So I was like, I said, what are you saying? Is it, he caught me with, he caught me with my drawers down? No, it's guard down. So it was.
Oh my God, that's all.
Yeah, I was asking questions. And she would be like, "Gee, you were so off. Like you weren't even close." And I'm like, and I go, "Well, wait, hey, how many people can have the singer that made these records? And you can get it from the horse's mouth, So
there you go.
That's what we used to do. So yeah.
Thank you for that. And Miss Fleming, I saw where you asked that he not tell any embarrassing stories or anything. I saw where you posted that. So he just embarrassed himself, dear. Don't worry about it. You know what I want to do right now? Mm-hmm. I want to play the song, if that's okay with y'all, so that everybody can hear the latest. And let me just say, that sometimes when artists who legends, when we hear their new stuff, it's like, but it doesn't really capture the essence of who we know her to be or whatever. I just want to say, as a DJ, I am completely down with this track. I'm digging it.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Like, it means everything.
Great job, Miss Fleming.
And next time, and shout out to Teddy Douglas, Basement Boys. I want to say something to Jay Steinauer and Teddy Douglas. And unfortunately, one of the people that helped, that did the co-writing, Jose Clowney, he passed away last year. So I want to say a quick rest in peace. But to Jay Steinauer, Basement Boys Records, of course, Rochelle Fleming, Teddy Douglas, and the countless DJs. WBLS is playing this record, and I'm just so grateful. I'm so thankful, and you're more than welcome to play this song.
Thank you very much, George. And next time.
Hang on one second. What'd you say, Ms. Fleming?
The tech guy, Bill, I call him Bill, that worked the sound in the studio with us. I had so much fun with him, and Teddy used to say he doesn't laugh much, but I had him cracking up. I said, I don't know what you're talking about, because he's laughing.
Bill was a great engineer, of course, and Bill the engineer too. He was great. Yeah.
All right, let's do it, y'all. You're listening to WJBR Internet Radio, and you're watching JaVonne and Terez in the basement with Miss Rochelle Fleming and
her manager,
George Correa. Did I say it right, Joe?
Perfect. Thank you.
Oh my God,
you did it right.
Things are coming together.
Don't tell her ass me, because I mess it up all the time.
No, she does.
because that's the compulsive. Always show and prove, I don't show and tell. My name ain't Boo Boo, it's Rochelle. There's nobody to know. Little bit of everything, not playing by the rules. I ain't baby a lot, I ain't nobody. I ain't little bit of everything, not playing by the rules. Maybe a lot of things, but I'm nobody's fool. Little bit of everything, not playing by the rules. Actions spoken, but the words were untrue. Maybe a lot of things, but I'm nobody's fool.
Sing it, Roshi.
Oh my God, you can keep on saying. I'm like, oh my
like a fairy tale with magic beans and a bridge. There's no reason I can spot a counterfeit.
90 seconds.
Little boy, you hear what I'm saying? Tell me, you can't tell me I'm wrong. Hell no, hell. Maybe a lot of things, but I'm nobody's fool. Little bit of everything, not playing by the rules. Action slow, but the
60 seconds.
maybe a lot of things, but I'm nobody's fool.
That is fire. That is fire.
Thank
Ooh, JaVonne, what's the BPM on that?
That's 123.
That was one.
I'm dancing in the video.
Thank you. This is awesome.
10 seconds.
Oh, girl, blow.
She said she almost said, "Who that girl
something.
blowing?"
But yeah, thank you so much for having us on the show. And
yes,
we
and
really
thank you
appreciate
so much for coming through.
Thank
Next time, Miss Fleming, I'm praying that you'll come and let us see your beautiful face and smile and giggle, and we can have a good time.
Yes.
And you know, George, you always welcome. You're
Thank you
always
so
welcome.
much. I appreciate it. So nice meeting you, Terez. Great. Best of luck to your show. Thank you for having us.
Thank you so much. And everybody, you know, normally we hang out for a little while, but we're going to end this thing quickly because
we want to see this debate.
Debate time. So let's do it. We got 2 minutes for the debate. Let's
Thank
go.
you.
Let's go.
Bye-bye.
Let's go. God bless. Have a
Thank
good
you.
night, everybody. Thank you so much.
All right.
Thank you guys. Please stay safe.
Thank you.
You too, Miss Fleming. God bless. Mwah.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, darling. Yes, that's fabulous. Let's do it.